Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are recording a piece of fan fiction that I wrote that was inspired by a piece of fan art. You'll actually be able to see it in the thumbnail. Allie the Kitten is the artist for the fan art. I'm going to link her Twitter and her Instagram into the description, but I've seen this piece of art multiple times and I just love it so much. So I finally decided that I was going to write a piece of fan fiction for it. And so I hope you enjoy it. I hope that when she read it, she enjoyed it. And I hope that I did her piece of art justice with the story that I wrote for it. This is actually one of my more popular fics on AO3, probably because the piece of art is pretty well known. So the title of this one is That's How We Ended Up Kissing on a Live Stream. And like I said, it is written by me, Beauty in the Bookshelf, and it is inspired by a piece of art by Allie the Kitten. Relationship is Kirishima and Bakugo, and the only other character that is in the story is Present Mike. Some of the tags for the fan fiction are established relationship, public displays of affection, social media inspired by fan art, declarations of love, pro-hero Bakugo Katsuki, pro-hero Kirishima Adro, Put Your Hands Up Radio, Yamada Hazashi, Present Mike's radio show, flashbacks, canon compliant mostly, and here is the summary. Dynamight thought Red Riot was dead. He kissed him like it was the end of the world and accidentally did it on a live broadcast in front of millions. In this week's episode, Present Mike interviews two of the most explosive names in the business. And one of Pro Hero World's most iconic couples talk about the day everything changed. A rescue mission gone sideways, the fear, and the live broadcast kiss that made history. Here's the story. Yeah! What's up, listeners? You're tuning into Put Your Hands Up Radio, the only radio show where we crank it loud and keep it real. The familiar electric voice of Present Mike practically vibrates through the airwaves. It's that time again, our weekly Heroes Unplugged special, where we bring the biggest and brightest in the hero world. This ain't your typical hero news. We're diving deep into the lives behind the masks and sharing the stories you won't hear anywhere else. So get hyped, because today's guests are about to light your speakers up. A dramatic pause. Two of the most explosive names in the business, literally, Dynamight and Red Riot. Kirishima's voice cuts in warm and smooth. Hey sensei, thanks for having us. A low grumble follows, Bakugo clearly less thrilled. Present Mike laughs. Some things never change. These two don't just fight side by side, they've been partners off the battlefield too. For those of you who might not know, couples like these are still pretty rare in the hero world. And on top of that, they're one of the few openly queer couples out there. Another beat, and the mic crackles softly. And, Present Mike adds, now teasing, if I remember right, it all started with a little live broadcast kiss that broke the internet about 3 years ago. It was a pretty unforgettable moment. Bakugo lets out a low groan, because of course that's the part Present Mike is going to bring up. So, tell all the listeners, Present Mike said, his voice buzzing with energy. Was that kiss a bold PR move, or just one of those heat-of-the-moment things? Kirishima smiled softly, his voice steady as he leaned a little closer to the microphone. Definitely not planned. It caught me off guard, but honestly, it was genuine. Sometimes the heart just takes over. Bakugo clicks his tongue. It was after a mission. I thought he was dead. What else was I supposed to do? Present Mike let out a laugh, loud and warm. Yeah, and he kissed you like the grand finale of a rom-com, totally forgetting the cameras were rolling. So, gentlemen, take us back. What happened that day? Flashback. Hero Network live broadcast 3 years ago. Red Riot has entered the building. Structural integrity is compromised. I repeat, building may collapse. The video feed flickers, showing a crumbling 10-story office complex, half of its western side already reduced to twisted metal and clouds of dust. Rescue drones hover overhead, scanning for survivors. Sirens wail in the background. Civilians confirmed on floors 3 and 4, a voice crackles over the comms. Team Bravo is rerouting. A sharp burst of static interrupts the stream, and then, Red Riot, do you copy? Come in, Red Riot. No response. The comms crackle, then fall to static. Another few seconds drag by. Too long. We've lost his vitals feed, someone says, voice tight. A pause. Could there be building interference? Another voice offers, but even they don't sound convinced. The camera shifts to Dynamite, standing just outside the debris zone. Dust clings to his arms and neck, his hands clenched into fist, tiny explosions sparking at his palms. One of the drones catches a brief glimpse through a shattered window, disappearing into smoke and shadow. Red Riot's tracker still reads active, floor 5, but the dot isn't moving. A tremor shakes the ground. Cameras jolt. Civilians scream in the background. Concrete begins to shear away from the upper levels as the building gives out a warning groan. He's still in there. A deep rumble drowns out the voice. The upper floors begin to sag inward as the center of the building buckles. Bakugo's eyes widen. No! And then he moves. Dynamite doesn't wait for the all clear. He launches forward, blasting through the rubble toward what remains of the building's side entrance. Dynamite has entered the zone. The comms confirm. I repeat, Dynamite is on site. The camera swings wildly as a media drone tries to track his movements, catching only fragments through the dust, the sharp flash of his gauntlets, debris flashing outward, support beams creaking dangerously under the shifting weight. Structural integrity is down to 14%. Evac teams, stand by. Then, we've got movement. Southeast exit. I've got eyes. The camera snaps back to the street-level chaos just as a figure stumbles out through the smoke. Red Riot, still in his unbreakable form, emerges, dragging a civilian in each arm. Their faces pressed to his chest, coughing into his gear. He shoves them towards a medic, then nearly buckles, one hand bracing against the ground. A field medic rushes forward, but Kirishima waves them off. Check on them first, he says hoarsely, nodding towards the civilians. There's a flurry of movement, EMTs swarming, stretchers being deployed. Red Riot stays crouched for a second longer, catching his breath. And that's when the camera closes in. A live broadcast reporter, mic in hand and eyes wide, pushes towards him with a camera drone hovering closely behind. Red Riot, can you speak about what just happened in there? He stands up, blinking into the lens. He's still catching his breath, the dust painting his face in ash and sweat, but he nods. We found survivors on 5, he says. North stairwell had collapsed, so I reinforced part of the hallway. I got them out through the service lift. His voice is rough but steady. The reporter opens their mouth to ask another question. Then, from above, a loud boom of an explosion. Ajiro! Someone shouts off camera. Dynamite lands with a heavy thud a few meters away, sending up a cloud of dust and debris. Without hesitation, he rockets forward, his palms flaring as he sprints forward towards Kirishima. Kirishima barely has time to register it before Bakugo grabs him, roughly and desperately, both hands fisting in the front of Red Riot's suit. There's a split second of hesitation, a flicker of expression, and then he pulls him in and kisses him. Hard, fierce, full of emotion that had no place in the middle of a mission, but demanded to be seen anyway. The feed doesn't cut. In fact, the silence on the comms is deafening. Then someone gasps. Somewhere behind the drone's mic, another voice. We're still live. The video lingers on 2 of the country's most well-known pro-heroes standing in the street, dust swirling around them, lips pressed together like they didn't care who saw. The camera operator hesitates, then slowly pans away, catching the tense faces of the medics and emergency crews swiftly behind them. Red Riot has just helped evacuate several survivors from the collapsed building, the reporter says, voice steadying. Emergency teams are continuing their work. We'll keep you updated as the situation develops. Meanwhile, the live chat is exploding with reactions. Did he just kiss him? On camera? Gay on main. Bakugo finally snapped and kissed his boyfriend, apparently. Red Riot is a national treasure and he deserves all the love. Wait, are they actually a couple? Or was that adrenaline? Heroism and gay rights all in one day. We are fed. Kachan, you're live on main. Holy shit, they are kissing. Oh my god, I'm crying. They kissed like no one was watching, but everyone was. The feed kept rolling, but no one was talking about the collapsed building anymore, and it stayed that way until the feed finally ended. And that's how we ended up kissing on a live stream, Kirishima says, leaning back against the couch, his smile equal parts fond and resigned. Bakugo huffs beside him, eyes pointedly averted and looking silently embarrassed. Present Mike lets out a long theatrical yeah, like he's reliving it all over again. Man, I remember watching that live. The whole country stopped. I gotta ask, what was going through your heads in that moment? Kirishima's voice stays calm, but there's a weight behind it now. I wasn't thinking about the cameras. I wasn't thinking about anything, really. I was still trying to catch my breath, trying to process that I'd made it out. He glances at Bakugo, voice softening, and then he was just there. Bakugo shifts beside him, trying and failing to hide his embarrassment. I thought you were dead, he mutters, and that's all I was thinking about. A pause, and then quieter. I didn't know we were live. Didn't really care afterwards either. I just needed to know you were real. Present Mike exhales, voice lower now, almost reverent. Damn, that's love, listeners. Kirishima laughs quietly, the kind that sits deep in his chest. Honestly, I think we forgot the whole world was watching until we opened our phones later. Bakugo grumbles, dumb way to go viral. But there's no real heat in it, just the ghost of a smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Present Mind chuckles. Yeah, well, you two kind of rewrote the rulebook that day. Now every hero couple's trying to go public with a bang. Kirishima grins, not sure we'd recommend our method. Present Mike leans into the mic again, voice rising. You heard it here, folks. Public declarations, emotional trauma, and one hell of a kiss, all in a day's work for Dynamite and Red Riot. He pauses dramatically. So, wedding bells in the distance? Or do we need another accidental live broadcast to find out? Bakugo makes a strangled sound. Kirishima blushes so hard it climbs to his ears. Okay, Present Mike cackles. That's all the time we've got for this week's Heroes Unplugged. This is Present Mike signing off. Keep it loud, keep it proud, and remember, love might be the loudest quirk of all. Yeah! All right, friends, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope my Present Mike wasn't too obnoxious, even though I love him so much. He is not an easy character to voice. But I was really giving it my all there. Like I said, if you haven't checked out Allie the Kitten's Twitter or Instagram, I would totally go over there and give her some likes because she is wonderful and that piece of art is gorgeous. And if you liked this recording of the podfic that I wrote for the fanfiction, please consider liking, subscribing. I still have a couple fan fictions to get through, and I'm still writing and publishing more on AO3. So I hope to see you next time for the next video.